Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. It is Tuesday, May the 13th, and I'm back. Well, sort of anyway. I'm off camera, obviously. I'm still hopeful that I can get back on camera before the end of the month. We'll just see how the healing process goes. And before I get into the forecast, just a monumental thank you to everybody who wrote us comments. We had hundreds of people write in, nearly 1,000 people wrote in to wish me well and to get back to work. And so I just appreciate each and every one of you. I read every single comment, but obviously with so many, it's hard to reply to all of them. But thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Let's get into the forecast though. That's why you're really here. You want to see the forecast. So let's try and make sense of what is going on since we last talked. At the moment, not a huge amount of activity around the country. I've got the big green hand here to represent my hand, showing you the heavy sort of cloud that is moving up the country. Not heavy rain, heavy cloud. This is just simply high cloud moving through the Canterbury region into Marlborough. Mostly dry with this. There could be a few spits, but the showery weather is actually down around Southland and over along the west coast. That's where we're seeing most of that showery weather come through across Tuesday. In the north, cloudy weather moving into the west. It's become quite gloomy in a number of areas. There may be some showers coming through from that, but it's not expected to be a huge amount, and mainly dry for those of you along the east with the sunniest weather into the northeast. Let's move through to the wind map and air pressure maps now. So high pressure to the east of the North Island and to the west over the Tasman Sea. In fact, the high pressure zone in the Tasman here, a couple of centres to it, that'll merge together, but a very large high pressure zone to our west. So between these two highs and the big storms down here in the Southern Ocean, we've got the classic autumn west to southwest flow. A bit more northwest for some of the North Island here. We showed you the high cloud moving through Canterbury. Those nor'westers move into the North Island as we go through Tuesday. There is a southerly behind it, and temperatures do drop as a result of that. And as we go through the next week, you're going to see that we're going to get a taste of winter coming through thanks to the storms down here and the highs that are coming out of Australia. So let's make sense of it all in the big picture. Here we are for lunchtime tomorrow, Wednesday. You can see these highs have merged in the Tasman into one main system, and the other one out to the east here being squeezed well away, well east of New Zealand. So this high pressure zone around New Zealand protecting us from these tropical lows that are forming to the north and northeast of us. They're not coming down our way. Another big high following behind this high pressure system, that's also worth keeping an eye on. But look at these storms, 948 over the Southern Ocean. Another one out here, 952 southeast of Dunedin. These are very big storms, but there's very big high pressure to the north, and that acts like a lid, and it keeps these windy westerlies stuck kind of further south from us at the moment, brushing just the very lower part of the South Island on Wednesday, which means your temperatures will go up a little bit as we go through the day, but a little bit cooler on Wednesday in the east here with a few showers, and they might even come up around Great Barrier Island and Northland and Auckland. Won't be much though. Going into Thursday now, those westerlies, all those big strong westerlies, are moving in further up the country, and so now it comes into the lower North Island. High pressure, pretty much stuck around the top of New Zealand. That's where there are a couple of showers around, maybe around Western Bay of Plenty, Coromandel, Great Barrier Island. Won't be much by the looks of it there. Windy westerlies or northwesterlies through Cook Strait, maybe some exposed parts of Waited Upper and Hawke's Bay to the south, and windy weather through the Southern Alps, the foothills of Canterbury, those sorts of places, and around Otago and Southland. Some wet weather on the west coast, otherwise many places on Thursday are actually looking fairly dry. So let's go through to Friday. We've got high pressure still stuck around the top of the country. A couple of showers now coming in parts of Waitomo, maybe Taranaki, further down the lower part of the North Island, Manawatu maybe. Won't be much. These are westerly winds mostly, not overly strong either. Strongest winds still in the lower part of the South Island where there's a west to southwesterly flow, which means Canterbury will be dry and sunny. The west coast mostly dry in the populated areas, but it still may be a little bit cloudy. Still the chance of some showers around southwestland or even a bit of rain as you go right down and towards Fiordland. All right, let's move along now to Saturday because we do have a change coming through this weekend. And it starts off warm, and I mentioned that there's a taste of winter coming. This is it, starting at the weekend. So the warm part is due to the high out here to the east of the North Island. That is a big easterly flow up in the subtropics, brushing past Tonga and even going up into the tropics around parts of Fiji, around New Caledonia. It turns around as a northerly, and that's what comes down into New Zealand. So we've got a warm nor'wester or northerly from the top of New Zealand to the south of New Zealand. Rain on the west coast starts to set in as we go through Saturday and Saturday night in particular going into Sunday as low pressure in the Tasman Sea moves in. Jump over to the other side of the Tasman to our friends in Tasmania and there is a colder southerly change coming through for them. So Saturday is warm in New Zealand, but by the time we get to Sunday, in comes that blue line which measures air thickness. So basically south of that blue line, it's more of Antarctic airflows than the temperate ones that we've got further around the rest of the country. So it could be pretty warm on Sunday with the nor'westers blowing in Hawke's Bay, Gisborne. These areas could be seeing temperatures into the low to maybe mid-20s, depending on if the sun comes out. It is still a windy nor'wester. Showers through here could be heavy. The green and yellow bits around the central and western North Island here show the risk of some heavy downpours around the middle of the day moving across from west to east. That could spark an isolated thunderstorm or two anywhere around the North Island. And windy west to northwesterlies carry on through Cook Strait, maybe gale force. But look at this, further down, you're seeing the southerly come through. So Christchurch, for example, on Sunday, your maximum around about 11 degrees, and you're talking about 8s and 9s and 10s in the very lower South Island, around the deep south and going into Otago, which means a dusting of snow on the mountains and ranges, sunniest weather around southwestland as the day wears on, thanks to a southeasterly flow. So next week kicks off with this taste of winter. Now it's not a major change, it's not a major shock to the country, but we will see these temperatures down around the South Island, another low just south of New Zealand here, 974 hectopascals. That brings a burst of milder west to northwest winds on Monday, a couple of degrees warmer maybe than Sunday was, but there is the next cold front coming in to the southwest corner as we get to about early afternoon on Monday, if the timing is right with this. And there's a small bit of low pressure stuck around the western North Island. Watch this space. There could still be some showers and downpours moving around before we get to Monday itself, but that is the current thinking. And look at this over Australia, around Adelaide, the next big, powerful high pressure system coming in, and that one is getting stronger as it moves to New Zealand. Before I go, the 7-day rainfall, not a huge amount of rain. We'll start off with the areas in pink because that's the bottom of the scale here. 0 to 5 millimetres in the pink shading. So that's North Otago, coastal parts of Otago, so Dunedin northwards, up towards the northern parts of Canterbury and also right around Hawke's Bay. Those are the areas caught up in that westerly flow, not as wet in the east. Heavier rainfall on the North Island, you see the blue, that's in that sort of 10 to 30 millimetres. So over a week, anywhere that's in that darker blue shading, much of the North Island and a big part of the South Island, that's actually fairly normal rainfall for this time of the year. Might be a little bit heavier around Taranaki and around Golden Bay, Takaka areas. And then we're also seeing some heaviest rain down around where it should be in the Fiordland National Park. So that is all from me for today. Again, thank you so much for all the lovely comments that came through. They made me laugh. Some of them made me cry a little bit. They were lovely comments. We feel very valued by you guys, the audience. So thank you so much for the very kind support. We'll be back again, or I'll be back again tomorrow, like I say, off camera, probably for the next couple of weeks. I'm still not 100% sure what it all looks like under the bandages, but I'm getting there, and it's all thanks to the comments from you, which really lifted my spirits. That's all from me for today. I'll see you again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next New Zealand weather update.